Good morning, gorgeous. Good morning, gorgeous. Don't forget to smile. As you look radiant as you are the queen of your Nile, wake up, beautiful. It's time to spread your wings. Open up your window and hear the songbirds as they sing.
Welcome to Good Morning Gorgeous, your Saturday morning dose of inspiration. I am Sharonda Steele, and
I'm yours truly, Larissa Williams.
okay, so let me just start off by saying how Larissa is styling and profiling with this hat and the shirt.
Hey,
You gotta
hey.
check out Bluegrass Designs and Services. This is just another one of those items she's added to her repertoire of fashions for
Thank
people
you.
to check out. It looks good. You look great.
Yes.
I just have to
Look,
say that.
thank you. I don't wear a lot of hats, but I'm getting into it and I'm like,
It
okay,
looks
I
good
like
on you. It
this.
looks really, really good. I don't think I
Thank
pull hats
you.
off that well, but it looked good on you.
Thank
Hmm.
you.
But before we get started into all of the conversation, I have to introduce our guest for today. We have the Floena Spencer is with us today. And I'm just so happy to have you here, Flo. You have no idea. I reached out to you a while ago. It's like, I have to figure out how to get you connected because if you have never had an opportunity to talk with Flo or spend time with her, you are missing out on a huge experience. She is just such a overall just a phenomenal woman, but honey, funny and will tell it like it is, and I absolutely love that about you. And I will want to make sure I say that Flo is at an event today, so if you hear any background noise, it's just from the little kiddos that are coming through, I think a Santa's workshop or something like that. Flo, I think we met maybe what? I think 2007 or 2008, maybe?
Yes.
It was a
Yes.
while
Yes.
ago at Kentucky State University in Kentucky here. So, and I know,
Yes.
yes, and you were a graduate of Kentucky State, and so was I. You got your bachelor's from there?
Yes. Yes.
Yep, your
Yes.
bachelor's.
In child development and
And I
family
got my
action.
master's degree from there. You got your master's from there too?
No, just my
Oh,
bachelor.
your bachelor's, yeah. And I
Hmm.
got my master's degree there. But Flo and I met many, many years ago where we both been working for the same program. And we've always been able to keep in contact since. And now Flo is in this new venture, and she'll be able to share more about what she's up to now. But she's in this new venture now with her Spencer sauce. And you may already recognize her face because she was on the Judge Mathis show, and then I got a chance to watch with some students, and it was great though. But Flo, thank you so much for being here today. Why don't we just start off with you telling our listeners and our viewers a little bit more about yourself?
Well, my name is Floena Spencer, and I live in Franklin, Kentucky. Like I said, I am a graduate from the Kentucky State University, and I have a son that's 21 years old. A little more into that as we start talking about Spencer sauce. But my main thing is I love meeting people. I love sharing, and that's pretty much who I am. I don't meet a stranger. You never know who you entertaining when you talking to somebody. So therefore, I take my time to meet and know a smile or a nice word, how they can make somebody's day go. So I'm an all around just a people
Yes.
person, and that's just who I am.
No, you absolutely are. Like your spirit is like contagious. Everybody just love Flo. And that's why I'm glad to have you here on the podcast. And today we're talking about the Spencer sauce, but you're involved and engaged in a lot of things in like community and all that. So we'll come back later, another day, and talk about that. But thank you
Right.
for joining us today for sure.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Floena, so do a lot of people call you Flo?
Mostly everybody, yes. Just when I hear Floena, that means it's either somebody in my family or somebody who I've just met and they met me there. But mostly everybody just calls me Flo.
Flo, because it's like from Sharonda's description, and for just a little bit of what you said before we started the recording, I'm like, I bet you go by Flo. We used to have a Flo in our
Mm-hmm.
family years ago. I feel like everybody may have a and she was my great aunt Flo. Great aunt Flo.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is my first time meeting you, Miss Floena, aka Flo. So I have a question for you. So tell me a little bit about what prompted you to start your business and making your own sauce.
Well, I had started making the sauce several years ago, taking it like to Kentucky State's homecoming. And so several people would ask me, like, are you going to break it for homecoming? And so I would give out some. So that kind of like was just like then or special occasions. So last 2021, I was getting ready to have surgery. And so a couple of girls was like, well, can you make us some sauces? And I was like, well, yeah, I can make you up some. And so they was like, well, I'm gonna put it on Facebook. But by the end of the day, I had like 38 orders.
Oh my gosh.
Just that's
Wow.
that day. So, and what happened was that one original sauce that I started out with, well, my son, that was too spicy. So I dialed it down for him. And then someone would ask, can you dial it up? So I originally started naming it after my different family members. So we started out with
Love
one, the
it.
original. And so that's the names, all the names are originally named after family members
Wow. I
or
love that.
something special. So that original sauce is now my dad's name, and it's got Silky Slim Jim. And so out of that, it just kept growing because then some people like, well, do you have any with honey or do you have any with bourbon? So it was like, as people would ask me, do I have, instead of me, I would say, no, I don't, but let me work on it. And that's how now I think I have like over 33 sauces because I do a sugar-free line. And what I do is if I have whatever I have in the regular line, I have it also in the sugar-free. So if you want sugar-free with bourbon and garlic and smoke, then you'll have it that way. So I try to cater to my people, and I don't say customers, I guess I say family, because you meet so many people.
Yeah.
And my main thing is that at the time that we had started, that when I had to do that order of 38, I asked my son to come down, and his name is, well, I call him Spencer, but his name is Sean Spencer Woods. So he was living in Bowling Green at the time. So I asked him to come down and help me. So as we started doing a little work on it and stuff like that, then he started talking to me that he had been going through some depression. So then, as I was getting more orders, I was having to call him to come and help me do more because I couldn't lift and stir and stuff. So as he would come down, we started talking more. And through us mixing this sauce and talking and stuff, I found out that he had been going through depression. He had several suicide things that he went through, but he was living in another city than I was. So he was putting on that different hat that we all do.
Yeah.
That everything's fine, nothing's wrong. So this barbecue sauce is like it saved our life because I have actually been to the hospital 2 times with my son being there. And so it took him to get COVID and get put on a ventilator that kind of like woke him up, like, I think the Lord will take you where you want to go and let you see if that's what you really want. And he gave us a second opportunity. So I use this when I come to pop-ups or anything, that I always talk about the mental health aspect of communicating and talking, because had I not gotten those orders and needed his help, I might have been buried my son a year ago. So that's why I tell people I passed out mental health pamphlets from a program that's out of my hometown, Franklin. And so, but when I talk to people, because a lot of times when you have these pop-ups, it's not about the selling, it's about the networking, and it's
Yes, ma'am.
personable. You meet people, and people come to these things, they might not have a dime in their pocket, but they just getting out and seeing what's out there. And then they might, because I pass out samples. Either I do a pulled pork or chicken, but I use my seasonings and along with the sauces, or if depending on which situation is on chips. But when I give my samples out, I'm giving it out to let you know that we're having a conversation while they're sitting there. So if somebody buys something, that's great. But if they don't, they will remember the conversations that I had with them. Because these pop-ups, it's not like you going into Walmart. You in and out, in and out. People are standing around and talking and mingling. And so you get to develop relationships with people. And that's my main thing that I really, because everybody on those bottles, and that's what I was telling my son, those people's names on those bottles, they paved the way for all of us, but they all went through their own personal demons just like we did. And that really opened up a lot of conversation. And then I got my son in counseling. And so he's did a total 360, but it's by the grace of God and through prayers. And I tell people all the time, do never be ashamed of what's going on in your family, things that have happened. Because a lot of time old past family secrets harm the new generation because they don't know that grandma went through this, or granddaddy or uncle such and such went through this. So when they're going through something, they thinking this is totally new. So I used to, so when we was naming the bottles, I told him different things about those people because they have been passed on way before him, but their blood is running through his blood just like mine. And so that really opened up a conversation because I was telling my son, people call me and talk to me about things that they're going through all the time. And what really stopped me in my tracks is that I had my own child that couldn't come to me and talk to me about the things that he was going through.
Right.
And I told him, as many as people that calls my phone, and you've been hearing me do this over the years, don't you never think I'm too busy to listen to yours, because you come first.
That's right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. And I love the idea that, in your mind, you were just saying, hey, come and help me with this. I'm getting all these orders. But who would have thought that just getting all those orders would have completely changed the trajectory of your son's life because you were able to have that communication.
Yes.
And sometimes things happen and experiences, good or not so good, and it happens for a reason to pull people together so you get to learn a lot more about what they're experiencing, what they're going through. Because much like you, people call me all the time for, advice or someone to talk to. Being a life coach, you get that a lot. But the last few days I've been talking with my own son, and I'm learning a lot more about him that I wouldn't have known before. But having those moments of being together, you get an opportunity to really start having those really deep conversations.
Yes.
That you would have otherwise have had.
And we had got interviewed from News Channel 5 out of Nashville. And so when the man came over, my son, because my son was on the championship football team in 2017 and 18.
I remember
and
that.
So he went off to college. Well, when he went to college, he had never been away from home. I kind of don't play anyway when it comes to some foolishness. So he really didn't have an opportunity to really mess up. And by being in a small town like Franklin, everybody knows everybody. So when he came back from college, he knew that people were saying things to him, but he wouldn't never tell me, well, such and such said, why'd you come back? Or you messed up. He would never tell me that because he knew I would have took it over. So he kept that.
Right.
And so he was internalizing. He done come home. He messed up. He's worthless. You messed that scholarship up and this and that. And I told him, if you wasn't ready to be in college, I can understand that, and I don't have a problem with it. I
Right.
want a viable person in society that's be able. If I close my eyes today, I want to know that you can feed yourself and take care of yourself. So as long as you get a full-time job and take care of yourself, you can go back to college anytime. College might not be for everybody.
That's
So he
right.
kept a
It's not.
full-time
It's
job
not.
ever since he been back. Matter of fact, heck, he takes care of me. He is Spencer Sauce. I mix the seed. I get come up with the ideas. I'm the one that's out here, but he's the finances. Anything that I need, he does. And
Oh,
but he doesn't mind that I share his story. And like I said, because you never know who you're blessing by showing. And what had happened was by all of those people saying those things, he never said to me what really was the underlying root of his depression until that man came to interview us. And he said he felt like he was letting the whole town down.
oh, wow.
Mm.
Hmm.
Wow.
So I'm just grateful that a closed mouth don't get fed, but you can't feed nobody if you close your mouth and don't say nothing either.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
sometimes
Yeah.
you don't have to tell people the nitty gritty and the all of but you tell people what you have went through because you can bless somebody else just by being transparent.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
yes, people was like, "Oh, I wouldn't have told that he had some suicide time." Why wouldn't I tell somebody to save another mother? Or another
Yes.
father or a sister or a brother? I'm
Yep.
going to tell anybody because you never know. Because the same time my son was going through that, it was another child that was friends with my son. He got pulled over by the police. Instead of him just taking the charge, he swallowed a bunch of pills and he died.
Mm.
So you have to be upfront with people and tell because if that child had known, let, just take this charge versus you ending your life.
Right.
See, and though
Yeah.
you have to be very, very detailed with these kids.
Yeah.
This generation is not a hands-on thinking. They got so much information that they cannot process it all. Whereas we had to go out and seek and figure out, and we listened to our parents or our grandparents and stuff. Now everybody's just all over the place. And so they're leaning to their own understanding. So even if you got a son or daughter, 21, 22 years old, they still need guidance.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh yeah. They're still young. They're still
Yeah.
Yes.
young. They're still young. And then with so much going on with social media, they're getting easily influenced by what they're seeing in social media.
Yes.
So I just read the other day that there was a young lady that I think she was a social media influencer and she died. And I think she was only 21. So as a parent, when our kids are away from us, I always, like my sons, I always constantly have them lifted in prayer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Lord, cover and protect my sons while they are away from me. And even if
Mm-hmm.
we're in the same area, protect them. And it's so hard because when you're raising Black men in today's
Yes.
society, they're still targeted. That hasn't
Yes.
changed.
It hasn't
No.
changed.
That
Mm-mm.
has
Not at
not
all.
that has not changed. And I'm telling you, when the pandemic first started, and that's all you heard were every channel or every story you was hearing about somebody's African American son being
Being
hung
Yes.
shot.
or
Yep.
shot or whatever.
Yes.
So I was walking around during that time frame, even though I have faith and I trust and believe in God, but it's these outside people.
Yes.
I was walking around on pins and needles, and I'm like, my sons were like, well, I want to go. No, you're not going anywhere. I
Yep.
wanted to keep them with me so I can lay eyes on them every day, 24 hours a day, even though I had to go to work. Like, if you leave that house, you need to text me when you get there, all of this stuff. I was going through that, and it was an emotional roller coaster because we want to
Mm-hmm.
protect our sons. And
Yep.
it's
Mm-hmm.
still going on. It's still going on today,
Yep.
and
Yes.
so every little thing I'm constantly listening and watching to see if their demeanor changes. So we have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation every single day, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
via text messaging or a telephone call, and we make sure that we tell each other every single day I love you.
Yes.
I love
Mhm.
you. And I have a son that's just turned 19, and then my other son is 20. He'll be 23. I don't care how old you get, when you 40 or however I'm gonna be, we're always gonna make sure that we tell each other every single day how much we
Mhm.
love each other. Because
Yes.
time is
Yes.
winding up. And not, God, there's not just old people or senior saints dying. You got young people leaving this earth before their parents.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
have, as a parent, we have to make sure that we listen, really listen, and pay close attention to when our child's demeanor changes.
Yes.
We have
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
because their demeanor has changed for a reason. And we have to
Mhm.
constantly be in their face,
Yes.
asking questions,
Mhm.
constantly be in their
Yes.
face, asking questions.
And then I think
So
the other side of that too is like, hearing Flo talk earlier about how, Spencer was in a whole other city. And, so I'm sure you've had conversations where you thought everything was fine, but really he was battling and dealing with his own, something that he
Mhm.
wasn't sharing. So, and, sometimes they're not going to be as open to share, right? They're not going to
Mhm.
just, and there's things, and I remember when before, some years ago, I was at a conference for parents, and I remember hearing parents talk about how they were having difficulties with their boys and how they weren't, how they were acting out and they weren't able to reach them or weren't talking to them. And I was sitting there going, not my kids, until I experienced it.
yeah,
Yep.
So there are going to be a
Yes,
lot of
ma'am.
things that they're not
mm-hmm.
going to just come out and say. But I think much like you were able to do with Spencer's sauce is that you created the atmosphere so that he felt okay with sharing something that was
Mhm.
really tough for him. And,
Mhm.
that's one of the things that I'm learning now. This morning, I was sitting down having my cup of coffee, and my oldest son came down and sat there, and we were just sitting down there just talking. And normally, I would be, I get up and I'm cleaning up and doing things. And I just sat there and had that moment because I
Mhm.
want them to know I'm creating an atmosphere where if something is bothering you, I want you to be okay to say it.
Yes,
Yes.
And for many,
yes.
many years, like unfortunately, many in our communities, we weren't raised that way. I wasn't raised that way.
Mhm. Mhm.
I wasn't raised to say I love you every day. I was, it was just certain things that I don't think that my mother ever just chose not to do. She just didn't do it because that's not the way she was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mhm.
began to change kind of that generational piece where our kids can't feel open to sharing and talking with us,
Mhm.
but creating an atmosphere for them to do it. And through, this idea of, hey, I want to place some orders, you were able to have that experience with your son. And now he's on the other side of it where he's getting help and, he's
Yes.
growing and and now you have this incredible message to share so that it help other families. And I think
Yes.
that is phenomenal in itself. I think
Yes.
you're brave. I think Spencer is brave for even being able and open to
Yes.
be able
Mhm.
to share this experience. I was telling Emmanuel, my oldest son, I said, one day I'm going to bring you on a YouTube channel. I want us to talk about mother-son dynamic because we went through it.
Right.
And with that, hopefully you're able to help some others. So sharing that story
Mm-hmm.
today, I believe it'll really help so many other families and maybe either some young guys that may be dealing with some things and they just don't know how to tell mom or how to tell dad.
Right.
So I do
Mm-hmm.
commend you for that for sure. I
And
do.
being and I tell people all the time, being from a small town, people feel like they can say anything. If they know your grandmama, your auntie, and your mama, they just feel like, hey, I can just it is what it is. But
Yeah.
this generation of kids, their skin is not as thick as ours. And
Yes, that
they've
is
been
so
watered down.
true.
Yeah, and so you can't just say anything to kids. I was overweight all my life. My daddy's nickname for me was Fats. Any other
Mhm.
child that was just depressing, but I knew that when he called me Fats, that was out of love.
Right.
And it didn't bother me. But you can't do some of the same little tactics that we had coming up and stuff. You have to touch and go with these kids, and you have to
Yeah.
tell them and assure them, like you said, Sharonda, my mother and them wasn't I love you and this and that. They figured if I'm keeping a roof over your head, you not out here hungry, you got clothes to wear, they let me know I love you because I don't have to. But with these kids, but with our kids now, they think that's just automatic. They know the law. They know you got to take care of them till they turn 18. So yeah, so they need to know that I love you. They want to hear
They want to hear
They
it.
want to hear it. They want to hear it. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think like how you was talking about where, now we were forced to have this thick skin. But for many of us, we end up having a lot of trauma for that we don't talk about. A lot of us need to be in counseling.
Exactly.
So in a way, sometimes with them having that, skin that may not be as thick is actually a good thing, because now we are learning things from them that our parents didn't learn from us, right?
Right.
I remember talking to someone before, and I remember saying, like, this group of students right now seems so different. Like colleges or in educational institutions in general have more of a need for counselors and therapists to be on staff more than we've ever seen before. And someone said to me, a lot of people would see that as a sign of weakness, but I see it as a sign of strength.
Yes.
Because they are able to say something is not right. Where before, when I was growing up, we didn't always say this something is not right. Right. We kept it in, maybe whisper to your cousin or someone, but you didn't share it as much. And now we're getting, this, like, maybe it's because the access to information and they're learning so much that they are saying something is happening. I'm not happy about that. We were talking to a mental health counselor, and it kind of put me in mind with listening to you, Flo, where she said, you meet people where they are. Not where I want you to be, but where you are. And that way people feel okay, know that it's okay to be able to share what they're feeling and knowing they'll be able to get help through sharing. And this is kind of what, almost what Spencer Sauce has been able to do for you and for your son. And I really do commend you for sharing the story, because so many people are dealing with suicide. I kid you not. I hear about it weekly.
Yes.
Weekly is coming through. And at one point I'm going, Lord, what is going on? Like, I mean, so many people are facing it right now. So being able to share those that are coming through and are on the other side of it, where you don't have to end, it doesn't have to end this way. And you can get help and you can live a fulfilled life. It's kind of a really great message to be able to share. So yeah, I'm glad that you shared that.
Yeah. And I feel like, for what you have shared, that has drawn you and your son Spencer, your relationship is totally different than it's ever been in both of your lives. And that is a tremendous blessing. So now, after he's gone through that and he has shared that publicly, that now he knows that he can come to mama. He can come to mama. Oh, thank you. Hallelujah. That he can come to you with any issues that he may be having, because now you have that special bond. Your bond is even stronger now than it has been before. And I mean, when you're saying, I'm still thinking about the 33 sauces. I can't wait to, give me a taste of the sauce. I mean,
I'm gonna see you some.
I remember I purchased some sauces from you a few years ago, and I tell you, good. So
I'm ready, because I'm so ready, because my oldest son, I can't keep barbecue sauce. I can't keep barbecue sauce, and I can't keep what is it? Parmesan cheese sauce. I can't keep ranch dressing. But the barbecue sauce, my oldest son goes through barbecue sauce. I might just have to get him. I'm gonna have to place an order, and that could be a gift to him, because he just recently moved out on his own. I can put together him a
little selection of sauces.
some of your sauce
and seasonings. And then he can then and what you when you do that, you just let me know, and then I will put in some note cards to tell him what to do with each one of them. So then he can go in and prepare. Then one night, girl, he'll call you on over for dinner, girl.
Look,
Oh, I
look,
love that
look. We are
idea.
look, I got your number. Oh yeah, because I want to do that. Do I have time to do a gift basket for Christmas?
Yes, ma'am, you sure do.
That's a
Oh
great
yeah. I
idea.
love that because look, he still don't really know how to cook. So with you
Right.
sending them, putting them note cards in there, oh yeah, I'm
Because
That's
my
a
excited.
great
thing
idea.
is that if people have a lot of steps to do, they more amped to not to do. So I try to give them the basics to do, especially like just wash your meat off, put your seasonings on there, throw it in the oven. Some people think if you say barbecue, you got to pull out a grill, honey. It's too hot for me, and I don't do flies. So I'll do something in the oven or the air fryer and sling that sauce on there, honey, and be done with it.
I know that's right.
Love it. I love it.
Yes,
I
but
love
I
it.
got you.
Oh, I'm excited.
You just send me his heat preferences. And then but like I said, I have a list on my Facebook Spencer's House page of everything that we have. You can go in and do the checklist and then give me those items. And then I'll get you together.
Oh,
That's
I
so
love it. I
good.
love it.
Well, to all the viewers and the listeners, she just said you can go to Spencer Sauce on Facebook. You can check out everything there and see what you want to order. This is so good. I love it. You have a lot going on with all these sauces, and you're going to all these different places where you're able to share it. What's next for Spencer Sauce? Are or have you ever thought about trying to see about putting in some stores, or
Yes.
what's happening? What's the future of Spencer Sauce?
The next step for Spencer Sauce is that I am working with a lady out of Frankfurt to get the labeling approved. And once that label is approved, then the Piggly Wiggly here in Franklin is going to let us put sauces in there. And
Yeah.
then we're praying on maybe because my vision is to do either a food truck or get the food trailer, but not necessarily just for Spencer sauce, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs out here that want to do like wings and this, but they don't have that ability. So what I would like to do is eventually purchase one and then like rent it out to entrepreneurs that's trying to serve the things and have it parked wherever they want it to be parked at, and then have a contract where they'll be able, to leave it the way they got it and things like that. So that's what my main thing is to get my seasonings and my sauces labels approved.
Yeah.
And then as well as start out with that, because my niece has a salad truck out of Bowling Green. Her name is Chopped by T. And so she has a food trailer and she does really well with that. But it's a lot of people that can't just go out
They
and
can't go buy
purchase
one.
that.
Yes, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I was talking to someone a couple of months ago who was a great cook. And at one point was thinking about doing a food truck, but the cost of it is so expensive. So being able to rent one and go to different places that's actually a really great idea.
Yeah. And that's what my main thing is. This is just to try to get out. And we started doing like some body scrubs, and that's kind of new on the brand. But I had made some for the ladies at my church, and so they were like, "Oh, this is really good." So I've gotten 3 out right now just to kind of start. So I've been putting some of those in the gift baskets and things like that. But my thing is that, and I think like I said, another time, people see you like, oh, you selling this, you selling that. I give away more than what I sell because it's not about the finances. Because if the Lord will make sure a baby bird eats, surely the goodness He gonna make sure I get a crumb in my mouth.
Show enough. Show
I can't
enough.
nickel and dime everybody and everything because the Lord always provides, and that's
Yes, he
what I tell
does.
people all the time. Then my thing is that like sometimes I come down here, I might sell 2 or 3 bottles, I might give away 4. But if they go on my page and like my page, once they
Yeah.
get finished with that free bottle, if
Yep.
they want to purchase, Or if
Yep.
not, if they call me right now and say, Miss Flo, I want some of your sauce, but I don't have no money. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give it to them.
Yep.
Because it's more so about making connections. And when you make connections, God sends people to bless you.
Yes,
Yep.
he does. I'm a living
Yes.
witness of that.
That's so good. Well, I know we've hit on a lot of things here between, of course, the Spencer sauce, entrepreneurship, relationship building, kind of family engagement. You know, we've hit on a lot of different pieces here. Is there anything that you know, even from all of that, that you would like to leave with the listeners or viewers as we get prepared to sign off today?
Well, I one more thing, and it's still would be up under the Spencer sauce, but one thing that I do that I'm really thrilled about is that the Lord has blessed me with the ability to go and take Bible stories and modernize them and present to different venues, churches, women's groups. But I use that when I do that to bring in things that's biblical is still going on in modern time. And sometimes you have to be able to break things down to people so people can understand. So the things that happened with Ruth and Naomi and Esther, they happening now in 2022. It's just a different type of program going on. And if they can make it through, surely the goodness we can too. And that's what I like to tell people all the time is use the bit of anything that come and build upon it. And that's what I do. I listen to, I'm a big talker, but I also do a lot of listening too, and I process. And once I know what people are going through, I go and try to seek information or things that I can share with them. I'm not throwing it down their throat, not trying to take over nobody else. But sometimes when you in the midst of a storm, you can't see clearly. But a person who see what you're going through, just offer a kind word or just a text. I don't want to know everything that's going on. I don't want the whole 9 yards. I just want to know if there's something that I can do to encourage someone. And that's my main thing. If I can encourage somebody, because plenty people encourage me, and I have to spare that blessing into other people.
Yes, that's so good. That's so good. And it's just because sometimes people just need that encouraging word or just a listening ear.
Yes,
That's
yes.
so true. And people don't realize that they can help others in just doing those small things.
Yes.
And you just never know what it could mean to someone just by just being there for them.
Yes.
We heard someone say, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I literally had a lady, and we're best of friends. We've been friends for now almost 20 years. But when I very first met her, I didn't know. She said she was going through some depression. So one Sunday at church, I was just really talking to her, how you doing, and this and that. And she come back some time later and said, that day I was getting ready to go kill myself. She said, but you went out of your way to stand and keep talking to me. And we've been best of friends ever since. Because like I said, it doesn't take nothing for a kind word, a smile, even a nod, or throw your hand up to let people know, I see you.
Yes.
And I'm acknowledging your presence. That's all I'm doing.
Yes.
Yes.
That's so good.
That's just, yes. And that's just how I am. I mean, and like I said, I tell my friends all the time, I said, finances, I'm nowhere where I need to be or nowhere where I should. But when it comes to blessing, I'm abundantly full.
Amen. Amen.
So good.
Ooh,
that's
amen.
so good.
Man,
that was good.
I love that.
That was good.
Okay,
that was good.
That's a nugget. That's a nugget right there.
That's a nugget, yeah. It kind of makes me remember someone else we talked to that said, I don't always have to talk to someone. If they need me just to sit with them or stand in the rain, I'm willing to do that with you. Just knowing that someone is there means a lot, means more to people than probably sometimes our words or advice could ever mean.
Right.
That's so good. So good.
I'm writing that. My finances may not be where I need them to be or where I want them to be, but I am abundantly full.
Abundantly
Is that what
full.
you said?
Full of blessings.
I love that.
Yes.
I
Yes,
love that.
honey.
I'm
I don't
constantly
never
writing
look.
down the nuggets.
I try not to look at if I look at my pocketbook and count or try to check each card to see what's on it, honey, I'll be laid up in a ball of sweat, tears, and blood, honey.
Right. Abundantly
Yes.
full. I love that.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when everyone think about, I gotta get, instead of just being grateful for where you are and what you have.
Show enough.
And how you could take those
Yes.
little bitty pieces of you and just be a blessing to someone else.
Yes.
And in doing that, you will receive more.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I keep kids all the time, honey. If somebody say I need, let me tell you something. Way they doing mistreating and doing kids, there's nowhere in the world that I can know. I'm sitting there on my couch doing nothing, and somebody needs somebody to watch their child. I'd rather watch them than to hear something done happen to them. So
Yeah.
I keep kids all the time because you just don't know everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
And so, yeah, I don't mind helping a young mother out because sometimes it takes us. We can't turn them. We done got ours up and down, but these young girls, they overwhelmed with these kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just need somebody not to tell them what to do, show them what to do.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, talk them through it.
Yeah.
And you can guarantee you'll see it if you
Yeah.
take your time. But people want to think, oh, well, they should know how. No, they shouldn't know how. You can have a baby and not know anything about a child.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. I work with moms right now, and one of the things I was saying is sometimes we get moms come in and everyone just think that they just automatically should know. And I'm like, no, we're getting moms that are like brand new, fresh out of high school moms. They don't know.
Yes.
And many of them, if they were not living, some of them are not living with their families, and
Yes.
they didn't themselves didn't have a mom to learn from.
Yes.
So we can't expect them to know things that we would think or say,
Yes.
well, you just shouldn't know this. No, they shouldn't know that.
Yeah.
And someone has to be there to not only tell, but to model the behavior and show them how things need to go. But yeah, that's so good. You got a lot going on.
I got a lot going on. It keeps these bones moving, honey. If I sit down, I'll stiffen up like a tin can, man, girl. Ain't enough oil to get me loose. I had to keep going. I said, I'll rest when it's time for me to rest, but I have to keep going because when you got things that's going in your head, you have to move. And so that's my thing, like, because I just wrote a Christmas play for our youth and some of the adults for Christmas. So now when I leave here this evening, tonight and tomorrow night, I'll be going to play rehearsal. So I keep it moving. Then I say, okay, January, that's my downtime. The whole month of January, I'm not doing nothing.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, because I got 0 to 6 kids that I do Bible lessons with on Wednesday nights at church. So yeah, I keep it moving, but I feel like that the Lord has allowed me to be able to have this time. At first, I felt like when I got disabled and got sick and stuff, that was oh my God, that was the worst thing ever. But then I got to thinking, Lord, as long as I'm still got in my right mind and activities of my limb to be able to be a help to myself and well as others.
Yeah.
Now that I have that downtime, I'm able to help these young mothers and fathers out with these kids or be able to do something, for some of my family members. Had I have a full-time job, these kids would be thrown off anywhere.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Good stuff.
So good. I mean, and I knew it would be. I'm so glad that you took time out to, even with your busy schedule, because I know you're at an event right now, to just come and talk with us today. I'm excited, or I'm glad that I've been able to see the progression of what has been happening, and I'm excited about what's to happen in the future. Cannot wait to see the new labels. And once you're able to, I know you're starting off with the Piggly Wiggly there, but then eventually I'm sure we're going to see you on shelves all over.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. And I know you all are already talking about gifts. Christmas gifts. So you eventually you can do more baskets.
Yeah. And see, that's what I had started doing, just doing like baskets for like silent auctions and things like that. And so then a lady asked me to do some Christmas baskets. So that's how I did a few of those, because my thing is that I always try to be like, well, I don't want to, keep having this and this and that to people to buy. But once I did that, that really did go over well. But my thing is that I'm not a suggestive seller, because I'm kind of like thinking like lower, like, well, maybe they don't have no, well, I ain't gonna upgrade to get this. Well, here's the season. So what I've been doing now is when they come and buy the sauce, then I just give the seasoning away as their Christmas present. So then they don't have to decide between
the sauce for the season.
Yeah.
That's so
right.
good.
And
So
see,
good.
and by you doing that, God is going to bless you, because I know the feeling as being an entrepreneur. Sometimes somebody will come and purchase a shirt with me from me, like a t-shirt or something that I've designed, and I'll throw in a pair of earrings. Or
Right.
or like for Mother's Day, I had like 3 different Mother's Day packages, and so I had these keychains left over that I made. So, and I'll pull those keychains out, and if I'm in an event, somebody will come and purchase some, and I'll be like, "Hey, by the way, excuse me, are you a mom?" And then I'll just bless them with a keychain. They're like, "Oh, really? This is so cute." So, when you do things like that out of the kindness of your heart, blessings come back to you in so many ways.
Yes.
And I don't look for
Yes.
monetary blessings. It's not
Right.
monetary blessings. God, that
Mhm.
like you, that's a new connection with somebody. I'm a
Mhm.
networker and I like to meet people. I like people. And that's an
Mhm.
opportunity, because you don't know, God will use us anywhere. We just have to have our ears open to receive what it
Mhm.
is that he wants us to hear from the people that we come in contact with every single day.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so, Miss Floena, I am so glad for the opportunity to meet you today. This is just our first meeting of many yet to come.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. And we
Y'all
look
spirit has come through this phone, honey. I almost done shouted several times talking to y'all. And I have restrained myself, girls. Whew.
well,
Y'all ready?
we're gonna definitely find more ways where we can connect. I know Larissa and I've already been talking about some things that we want to see happen with the podcast and growth and all of so many of the women we've been able to talk to on here. I mean, phenomenal. And finding ways to be able to continue to share all of these messages so that people are able to hear more and more and more of people with their expertise and their passions and their purpose, and just a good word, to be honest.
Right. Right.
So again, thank you so much for joining us today. And as we always like to say here at Good Morning Gorgeous, find yourself,
believe in yourself,
and love yourself.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Flo, thank you for being here. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.